Section 31.
How's it going, Bob?
How's it going, Bob? Could it be better? I did
Good
well
for
in
you.
my job interview. Good for you.
He gave
He
instructions to the
gave
trainees,
instructions to the
but they
trainees,
couldn't make
but
heads or
they
tails of
couldn't
them.
make heads or tails of them.
You can't do
You
two
can't do two things
time.
at one time.
It's out of the
It's out of
question.
the question.
Do them one by
Do
one.
them one by one.
Bob, don't
Bob,
disturb
don't
her.
disturb her.
Mind your own
Mind
business,
your
he
own
whispered.
business, he whispered.
If you persist
In bothering
like
her
she'll
like that,
lose her temper.
she loses her temper.
He was so
He was so
childish
childish
that
that
he
he
couldn't resist temptation.
couldn't resist temptation.
Stop
Stop making a fuss. It really gets on my nerves, she shouted. There's no point in talking back to Nick. He's a dictator, so to speak. They are very polite in his presence, but actually, they always talk about him behind his back. You despise Nick, don't you? On the contrary, I look up to him. His constant insults arouse her anger. I'm fed up with just shuffling papers and pouring coffee. I've made up my mind to quit. In reality, many people have difficulty making ends meet. How can you get by on 100,000 yen a month? Female clerks may well complain about their routines, which are not challenging at all. Thanks to a fundamental restructuring, our surplus has wealth freehold. Many people today think of loyalty to a company as an absurd notion. I have to commute all the way from a distant suburb. I'm sick of it.
Section 32. I want to
spend the rest of my life pursuing my ideals.
After
After retirement, Teresa devoted herself to caring for orphans.
For the sake
For the sake of children he needed, we cooperated to collect donations. The charity is named after a man who gave away some 2 billion yen. His autobiography was released today and was sold out by noon. Ted, who is often referred to as a man of integrity, is going to run for mayor. The candidate was disappointed by the outcome of the election. The municipal council should concentrate more on specific issues. It is the case that those who live on a pension are forced to lead a hard life. We should have lived this data. It's far from accurate.
Section 33. We tend to
We tend to
associate
associate politicians with hypocrisy.
They
They're primarily concerned with exploiting us, not with enhancing our living standard. The man once exerted a dominant influence on the Conservative Party, but now his power is diminishing. The spokesperson refused to make any comment, saying it's under investigation. The police say there's someone pulling strings behind the scenes. The executive entertained the bureaucrat at Ryote, or exclusive Japanese restaurants, hoping for something in return. His secretary flatly denied leaking any confidential information. No one dares to contradict his her employer for fear of being fired. He sacrificed his promising career to retain his dignity. I might as well kill myself as reconcile myself to my feet. He was about to commit suicide by swallowing poison when he thought better of it.
Section 34.
The vague rumor proved to be false. Nevertheless, some skepticism lingers on. A senior officer is suspected of accepting bribe from the company, but there isn't sufficient evidence to arrest him. Jason, who was in charge of the project, was dismissed for corruption. To my knowledge, he has not been involved in the fraud scheme. They found out the truth while examining a pile of relevant documents.
trial,
During the trial,
it came
it
to
came
light
to
that
light
they had
that
been covering up
they
illegal
had been
transactions
covered
for
up
decades.
illegal transactions for decades.
The detective,
The detective took down his testimony on the spot,
word for
word for word.
For the first,
For the first time in my life,
I
I
felt
felt a pang of conscience, but there was no other way out.
I'm still
I'm still haunted by a vivid nightmare I had last night. By and large, reporters don't hesitate to intrude on one's privacy. The author revised his manuscript over and over again. He is second to none when it comes to finding fault with others. And on the whole, the elite are not sensitive to criticism. When a tabloid revealed that he was a drug addict, his reputation was all but routine. They considered every aspect of the defense program and pointed out numerous flaws.
Section 35. We will not
We
tolerate
will not tolerate anyone who
terrorism.
engages in terrorism.
The
The notorious rebel was ultimately captured and confined to jail.
Troops were
Troops were swiftly called
down
in
the
to
riot.
put down the riot.
We
We should appeal to reason instead of resorting to violence.
I suggest
I
we
suggest we adopt
adopt
flexible
flexible
tactics for the moment. The
The
armed forces succeeded in occupying the entire territory. Under the circumstances, the enemy has no choice but to surrender. They can't hold out any longer. Sooner or later, the hostages will be set free. Under the reign of tyranny, innocent people were deprived of their citizenship.
Some
Some soldiers were reluctant to obey the command. His regime is bound to collapse. The Allies condemned the invasion as a violation of UN resolutions. We cannot rule out the possibility that civil war will break out in that country. The colony declared independence and became a republic.
Section 36.
An immense monument was erected in honor of the noble patriot.
He got down
He
on
got
his
down
knees
on his
and
knees
prayed
and
for
prayed
the
for the
deceased.
souls of the deceased.
The Supreme Court,
The Supreme Court is located near the Imperial Palace. The
The
pro-choice group protested against the ban on abortion. Senator Ford remained neutral in the bitter controversy. Ford has been in a difficult situation all week long. He is not longer capable of coping with it. The summit talks are to be broadcast simultaneously throughout the world. Diplomatic dialogue helped put an end to the conflict. Johnson was appointed as a goodwill ambassador to foster mutual understanding between the two nations. The specialist predicts international tension will build up. In my opinion, permanent peace is nothing but an illusion. Ethnic minorities struggle against prejudice, poverty, and oppression. We must make every effort to do away with all discrimination. The immigrants have endured physical and mental pain. The amendment was rejected because it didn't take racial diversity into account. Needless to say, the refugees were longing for freedom.
Section 37.
According to the survey, 3 in 5 people today are indifferent to foreign affairs. What will become of Japan-US relations if their security treaty expires? Unless Japan eliminates its unfair tariffs, the US will impose sanctions. Trade friction might arise between the two nations at any moment. Our top priority is to settle this dispute once and for all, so we are ready to meet them halfway. The federal budget was narrowly approved by Congress. He argued that the administration must look for alternative sources of revenue. Report showed that an overwhelming majority is in favor of the legislation.
Section 38. The cops are
The
searching
cops are searching for clues to the brutal murder.
The man must be
The
insane.
master must
He can't
be insane. He
distinguish
can't
vice from virtue.
distinguish virtue from
The
virtue.
fingerprints left
The
on
fingerprints
the
left on the
correspond
weapon
with the suspects.
correspond with the suspect.
It took us all by
It took
surprise
us all
when the
by
noted
surprise when
psychologist
the
was
noticed
accused of kidnapping.
psychologist was accused of
The
kidnapping.
jury's guilty
The
verdict gave rise to
guilty
widespread
verdict
debate.
gave rise to widespread debate.
The man pleaded
The
for
man
mercy,
pleaded for
but he was
mercy,
sentenced to 20
but
years
he
in
was
prison
sentenced
for his
to
crime.
20 years in prison for his crime.
The officer on
The
duty
officer on
perceived
duty
an elderly
perceived
man
an
coming up
elderly
behind him.
man coming up behind him.
He caught sight
He
of a
caught
thief
sight of
attempting
a
to break
thief
into the
attempting
house.
to break into the house.
The day before yesterday,
The day before yesterday, he witnessed a weird incident in the wilderness.
Section 39.
I
I became
someone
aware
staring
of
at
something
me from across
staring
the aisle.
at,
So I
at
turned
me
around,
from across,
but there was
so
no one
I
in
turned
sight.
around, but there was no one
She
inside.
screamed with horror.
She screamed
Someone took
with
hold of
horror
her arm.
as someone took hold of her arm.
Informed
Informed of her safety, he
he
breathed a sigh of relief. The bullet penetrated his chest, leaving him in a critical condition. At present, it's still uncertain whether it was done deliberately or by accident. A deli caught fire and burned down, leaving a heap of ashes. All of a sudden, the fireworks warehouse exploded, and it took 2 days to put out the blaze. A bomb went off in a 30-story building, and more than 50 people were seriously wounded. A cargo vessel bound for Athens sank in the Mediterranean without a trace. The reckless man froze to death during their expedition to the Atlantic. The tragedy must be remembered so as not to be repeated.
Section 40. The
The exhibition offers profound insight into ancient civilization. Giotto is credited with showing the scenes of the Italian Renaissance. Bob mounted the portrait in a fancy frame, but it was upside down. This magnificent cathedral dates back to the Middle Ages. Asian religions inspired him to create splendid sculptures. They explored the desert in search of buried treasure. The millionaire insisted on acquiring the masterpiece no matter how much it cost. Myths and legends should be handed down from generation to generation. The linguist is fluent in several Chinese dialects. The tribe worships its ancestors and speaks its own language, which is not familiar to us. The anthropologist says all the customs still prevail in the province. The wicked witch cast an evil spell on the man and turned him into a bug. They proceeded along the steep path, which was the sole access to the border. When a big ape emerged from the cave, they got frightened and ran away. Believe it or not, I saw an area and it vanished, giving me a break.